Now, he played a lot, obviously, before. Nate Temple hasn't played as much because he's been banged up, but he's a very experienced guy who should play a lot. Bam Brema. And then we've got several young guys, Nakai Johnson, and then several other guys that we're probably a little too early to tell you which one of those guys may play for us, but we'll see as we get along. Jimmy Scott is a guy, unfortunately, in the bowl game, he was the one stuck in Buffalo because of the snow and couldn't get to the bowl game. But he'd be another guy who's got a great chance to play a lot of football.
How do you feel Donovan McMillan, what kind of role you think he's going to play on the defense?
I'm sorry, say that.
Donovan McMillan,
yeah.
What kind of role you think he's going to play in the defense?
Well, I hope he has a chance to start. He's got every opportunity. We didn't bring him in here to be a backup. We've got, PJ and we've got McIntyre back there already, but, he's playing a lot of football at a pretty high level. And so we would hope he comes in and challenges to be a starter. If not, he'll play a lot of football for us, even if he doesn't go out there as the first guy. But I expect him to go out and play a lot of football in the secondary for us and be a great special teams guy.
With losing some of the bigger names this year, is the defensive setup, everything the same? There's nothing you're changing really in the focus of the defense?
No, it's early yet, but when we figure out who we are identity-wise, what are we good at, what do we do better, we accentuate those in our calls. But we'll teach the whole defense right now, and then as we get involved into more of two-a-days and more of camp, and then more of the season, what we are good at, we'll continue to do. What we're not as good at, we'll either adjust it or not run it as much.
How have you seen MJ grow and develop since he's been here?
Well, two things. I see MJ being a great leader. People listen when he speaks. I think he has found attention to detail is really critical to going from being good to being great, to have a chance to be a really high drafted type guy. And the thing I'm seeing is he's learned that, and now he's passing it along to the younger guys. And we've got a lot of good experience at corner, so those guys don't have to have a lot of reps. But this time next year, you're going to be saying the same thing. How do we do it without those three guys, right? And so, the beauty is that we know that, they know that, and so they're teaching the young guys and getting them ready and also getting themselves ready. So that's the kind of the culture we have, is that older guys pass along all their experiences to the younger guys, and it's helped guys to make it to the NFL.
You mentioned the young guys. I know the Sun Bowl with a bunch of young guys, lots of mistakes, lots of good things. I know camp just started, but how has that growth kind of come along now since Sun Bowl in December with all the young guys?
How's the growth?
Yeah. How's the growth gone?
The biggest growth, I think, from that point to now is that every one of those guys, anybody who got on the field, realized that they still have a long way to go to play at the highest level. We played the number 2 offense in the country, and the quarterback was very good, and they had, I think, the 4th ranked rushing offense in the country, and so it was a great challenge for basically our number 2, about half of our number 2 defense. And so those guys came away with a great learning experience that it really forced them to mature quickly and say, geez, I got a lot of work to do.
Have those lessons been kind of taken to a point now? Have they used those lessons as a way to grow?
Well, they've been learning from that since really December. And so they took all those experiences and they really were able to work on things that they realize now that maybe they lacked a little bit. And so that's helped them to grow a lot faster than maybe after the first game, like last year against West Virginia. Usually your growth happens between your first and second game more than any other. I hope, based on what's happened, that we may grow a little faster before the first game than the average defense.
I was joking with Charlie. It feels weird that I don't see a preseason All-American Pitt defensive lineman. It's been a while where that hasn't been the case. But
I think it was the last time we've had that was with Patrick Jones and Weaver graduating, right?
Yeah,
because we lost him, Weaver, and Twyman, right?
Yeah.
So you were standing here saying the same thing, but you weren't asking me about Kalijah Cansey.
Yeah, right.
So we like like to think that next guy's coming.
And do you feel, when you look around, do you feel like there is that next guy, or is it going to be more of a community? Do you think that
Absolutely.
group has someone that can burst onto the scene like that?
For sure. We have great skill, and I think the guys are excited to be able to prove that they're the next guy. And you know, this is the third cycle of that, and so they take it to heart that this is what we do and how we do it, and we expect them to be the next guy. And I think Charlie does a great job teaching, and I think our scheme gives defensive linemen more than almost anywhere else in the country an opportunity to be a playmaker, because we don't ask them to be blockers for linebackers. We ask them to go make plays and for the players behind them to play off of them. So we give them way more freedom than a lot of schools do. So that's why I think we are able to recruit a higher level guy, and then those guys know they got to go make plays to make the defense great.
Is this the deepest